Real men support family, my brother said, living rent-free in my house. Don't be selfish, his wife added. I nodded quietly. This morning my phone blew up with 13 missed calls. My phone's been buzzing non-stop since 6 a.m. 13 missed calls, 27 text messages. I'm standing in my kitchen, watching my coffee drip slowly into the pot, and wondering how 8 months of trying to help family led to this moment. It started last summer when my brother Caleb and his wife Melanie showed up at my door on a Sunday afternoon. I remember because I was cleaning out my garage, sweating through my favorite Ravens t-shirt, when their beat-up Honda pulled into my driveway. Just for a few weeks, Coop, Caleb said, that familiar charming smile on his face. The landlord's selling the building, and we need time to find a new place. Melanie stood behind him, nodding eagerly, her eyes wide with that look that always made me feel like the bad guy if I said no. I should have known better. I really should have. But he's my little brother, and I've got a 4-bedroom house all to myself since breaking up with Sarah last year. What kind of person turns away family? The first month wasn't terrible. They took the guest room downstairs, kept their stuff organized, and Caleb talked about all these promising job leads. Melanie even cooked dinner a few times, though she had this habit of leaving the kitchen looking like a war zone. Small price to pay for helping family, right? Week 6 is when things started getting weird. I came home one day to find my home office rearranged. Melanie read about feng shui. Caleb explained, not looking up from his phone. The energy's better this way. My dual monitors were unplugged, my desk pushed against the wrong wall, and my filing cabinet was in the hallway. I spent 2 hours setting everything back up while they ordered takeout. The job leads never materialized. The market's tough right now, became Caleb's mantra. Melanie's part-time yoga teaching wasn't bringing in much, but she kept buying these expensive essential oils and crystals that started appearing all over my house. The temporary storage of their stuff in my garage grew until my car had to stay in the driveway. My friend Jonah noticed the change in me first. You look tired, man, he said over beers one night. I explained the situation and he just shook his head. They're taking advantage of you, Cooper. You know that, right? I brushed it off, but things kept piling up. The utilities bill doubled. My groceries disappeared faster than ever, with no offers to chip in. Their dog, which they never mentioned having until it showed up one day, started chewing my furniture. Every time I tried to bring up these issues, Melanie would tear up and Caleb would get this wounded look. We're family, he'd say, like it explained everything. Last week, I finally hit my limit. I came home to find strangers in my living room, some spiritual healing circle Melanie had organized, crystals everywhere, weird chants, and the overwhelming smell of sage. My favorite reading chair had been pushed into the garage to make space for the energy to flow. I waited until their friends left and asked for a family meeting. Told them we needed to discuss their plans, set some boundaries. That's when it happened. Real men support family, Caleb said, sprawled on my couch, the same couch he hadn't moved from all day. Don't be selfish, Melanie added from where she sat cross-legged on my coffee table, surrounded by her crystals. I stayed quiet, nodding, watching them exchange that look they always share when they think they've won an argument. The same look they gave each other when they convinced our mom that their last failed business venture wasn't their fault. When they explained why they couldn't attend our dad's funeral because they were manifesting abundance at a retreat in Sedona. That night, I made some calls, talked to a lawyer friend, checked my state's tenant laws, documented everything. This morning, I left a formal notice on their door before heading to work. 30 days to find a new place. Everything legal, everything by the book. The calls started coming in around 6 a.m. First Caleb, then Melanie, then our mom. I haven't answered any of them. Instead, I'm standing here, watching my coffee drip, feeling this strange mix of guilt and relief. My phone buzzes again. Melanie's posting on social media about toxic family members and negative energy. Caleb's probably already called mom, spinning this his way. But for the first time in 8 months, my house feels like it might be mine again soon. The coffee's done brewing. I pour a cup, walk to my rearranged office, and start my workday. My phone keeps buzzing, but I'm done nodding quietly. I've got 30 days to reclaim my space, and somehow I don't think their abundance manifestation is going to find them a free place to stay this time. Update 1. Things have escalated since my last post about my brother and his wife living with me. I thought serving them notice would be the hard part. Turns out, that was just the beginning. The morning after I left the notice, I came downstairs to find Melanie sitting in the dark, surrounded by black crystals arranged in a circle. She didn't look up when I entered, just kept humming something under her breath. The hair on my arms stood up. Not because I believe in that stuff, but because this was different from her usual positive vibes only attitude. Your aura is very dark today, Cooper, she said, still not looking at me. It's concerning. I ignored her and went to make coffee, only to find my coffee maker unplugged, with a note taped to it. Negative energy needs to be cleansed before use. That's when I noticed all my kitchen appliances were unplugged. Every single one. Caleb came downstairs while I was plugging everything back in. He acted like nothing was wrong, asking if I wanted to watch the game that night. When I mentioned the notice, he laughed. "Come on, bro. You know Mom would never let you kick us out. We're family." That's when my phone buzzed. A notification from my bank. The utility bill payment had bounced. The bill they'd promised to handle 3 months ago. I pulled up my online banking and felt my stomach drop. They hadn't paid a single utility bill since moving in. Not one. I confronted Caleb about it. He shrugged, scrolling through his phone. "Universe provides, bro. Money is just energy. It'll work out." "The universe isn't paying my water bill," I said. "Maybe if you attended one of Melanie's abundance workshops." He didn't finish the sentence because I walked out. I needed air. My neighbor Layla was outside, walking her dog. She's lived next door for years, always friendly but keeps to herself. "Everything okay?" she asked. "I saw some strange lights from your windows at 3 a.m. Looked like candles." That was news to me. I'd been asleep, or thought I was. She hesitated, then added, "And, I think someone's been going through your mail. I've seen Melanie at your mailbox when you're at work." I thanked her and went back inside, straight to my home office. The filing cabinet I'd fought to keep in place was slightly ajar. Inside, my normally organized files were a mess. Credit card statements were missing. A cold feeling settled in my stomach. Called my friend Jonah during lunch. He wasn't surprised. "Remember their eco-friendly smoothie business that your mom invested in? Or the spiritual retreat center they were planning in Costa Rica?" I did remember. Mom lost $10,000 on the smoothie shop that never opened. The retreat center was just a badly photoshopped website that disappeared after collecting early bird deposits. That afternoon, my mom called. "Cooper, honey, Melanie's really upset. She says you're disrupting her spiritual business. She had to cancel 3 clients because your negative energy is affecting the house's healing properties." "What clients, Mom?" "She's charging people to come to my house." "Well, she needs to make a living. And Caleb's cryptocurrency investment is about to pay off big time. He just needs a little more startup capital." I hung up, opened my laptop, checked my credit report. 3 credit card applications in the past month. All declined, thankfully. Address listed? My house. The final straw came that evening. I overheard them in the guest room, door slightly open. "His house would make a perfect healing center," Melanie was saying. "Once we get established, we can easily clear $5,000 a week. We just need to get him to sign some paperwork." "Mom's working on him," Caleb replied. "Says he's always been the responsible one. Easy to guilt trip. The abundance ritual tonight should help soften him up. I've got those papers from that guy online power of attorney stuff. If we time it right." I'd heard enough. Went straight to my room, made some calls. First to a locksmith, then to my bank. Finally, to a lawyer who specializes in real estate and fraud. This morning, I came downstairs to find my living room transformed into what looked like a scene from a low-budget horror movie. Black candles everywhere. Weird symbols drawn on my hardwood floor, in what better not be permanent marker. A stack of official-looking papers on the coffee table, post-it note on top. Sign for family prosperity. I took pictures of everything. Sent them to my lawyer. Then I found the box of healing crystals Melanie keeps going on about. Funny how they look exactly like the glass beads you can buy in bulk online. Even funnier how the ancient spiritual symbols, drawn on my floor, match perfectly with a $2.99 Dark Magic Spells ebook I found in Caleb's Amazon history. The locksmith comes tomorrow. The lawyer's drawing up additional paperwork. And I've got a nice folder of screenshots showing Melanie advertising my address as her Celestial Healing Center, charging $200 per session. Mom keeps calling, telling me I'm tearing the family apart. Maybe I am. But as I sit here, watching Caleb and Melanie hurriedly cleaning up their ritual space, amazing how fast they can move when they want to, I'm done feeling guilty. Update 2. Yesterday was intense. I'm still processing everything that happened, but I need to write it down while it's fresh. The locksmith arrived at 8 a.m. sharp. I'd stayed up most of the night, scanning documents and backing up files. My neighbor Layla had texted offering to be a witness if needed. Turns out she used to work with people like Melanie who prey on desperate folks seeking spiritual guidance. I wasn't prepared for what I found in the kitchen that morning. Every surface was covered with food. Elaborate breakfast spreads, fresh fruits, even my favorite childhood cookies that Mom used to make. Melanie was wearing an actual apron, humming while arranging muffins. "We're manifesting gratitude," she said brightly. "Caleb's gone to get your favorite coffee from that expensive place you like." The locksmith caught my eye as he worked on the front door. We both knew what this was. Love bombing, clear as day. I grabbed a banana and headed to my office, ignoring the hurt look on Melanie's face. My laptop pinged with an email from my lawyer. Attached were screenshots from Melanie's private Facebook group, Celestial Healing Circle, VIP members only. There I was, featured in blurry background photos of my own living room, advertised as her spiritual mentor and silent partner. She'd been charging people $500 for weekend retreats. In my house. Caleb returned with the coffee and Mom. She burst into tears the moment she saw me. Why are you doing this to your brother? After everything. She stopped, noticing the locksmith. What's going on? I wordlessly handed her my phone, open to the credit report showing the attempted card applications. Her face went pale. There must be some mistake. Caleb would never. The locksmith finished up, handed me the new keys. That's when Melanie emerged from the kitchen, all traces of her earlier sweetness gone. You're changing the locks. That's illegal. We have tenant rights. She pulled out her phone, presumably to Google those rights. I'll call the police. Go ahead, I said, surprised by how steady my voice was. I've got copies of all the paperwork right here, including the power of attorney forms you were planning to trick me into signing. Caleb's face went white. We were just what? Planning to legally steal my house for your fake healing center? Running unauthorized businesses from my address? Going through my mail? Attempting identity theft? Mom sank into a chair. Identity theft? I pulled out the folder I'd prepared. Credit card application. Screenshots of Melanie's business. Photos of the ritual setup with the power of attorney papers. Bank statements showing the unpaid utilities. And here's the best part, I continued, pulling out my phone. Your conversation last night about scamming me? My security cameras caught all of it. The ones I installed after Layla told me about the late night activities. Melanie's phone clattered to the floor. Caleb started doing what he always does, making excuses. It's not what you think, bro. We were just trying to build something, help people. The healing is real. Real enough to charge people hundreds of dollars to sit in my living room. You don't understand the spiritual realm, Melanie snapped, but her voice wavered. The universe guided us. The universe can guide you to a new address. You have 2 hours to pack essentials. The rest of your stuff, you can get with a police escort present. You can't do this, Melanie shrieked. We have rights. Actually, he can, said a new voice. Jonah stood in the doorway, badge visible on his belt. I hadn't told them my friend works in law enforcement. And as someone who investigates fraud cases, I'm very interested in these unauthorized business operations. What followed was chaos. Mom crying. Melanie alternating between threats and pleas. Caleb trying to call their old roommates. All bridges apparently burned. Through it all, I stood my ground. They left 2 hours later, taking only what they could fit in their car. Mom went with them, not meeting my eyes. The house felt enormous suddenly, and very quiet. Layla brought over dinner later. You did the right thing, she said, watching me pick at my food. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you did. My phone's been blowing up since then. Flying monkeys everywhere, distant relatives, old friends, even my cousin's wife whom I've met twice, all telling me how I've destroyed the family. But here's the thing, family doesn't try to steal your house. Family doesn't commit fraud in your name. Family doesn't exploit your kindness for profit. The lawyer's handling the formal stuff now. Jonah's looking into Melanie's business activities. And me? I'm changing all my passwords, checking my credit reports, and finally feeling like I can breathe in my own home. Mom just texted, I raised you better than this. Maybe she did. Maybe she raised me to stand up for myself, even if she's forgotten that part. Finally update. It's been 3 weeks since I kicked my brother and his wife out. I wasn't planning to post again, but what happened yesterday changed everything. Remember how Jonah said he was looking into Melanie's business activities? Well, it started with an email from one of Melanie's former clients. She'd found my contact information through the real estate records for my address. Turns out, Melanie wasn't just running unauthorized healing sessions from my house. She was selling fake investment opportunities in a spiritual wellness center she claimed to be opening, using my house as collateral. Without my knowledge, the client, an elderly woman named Dorothy, had lost her entire retirement fund, $175,000. She wasn't the only one. I forwarded everything to Jonah. Within hours, he had a full investigation running. The evidence kept piling up. Fake contracts with my forged signature, doctored property documents, even a website showing my house as their international center for spiritual awakening, complete with my photo labeled as their silent partner and primary investor. Meanwhile, Caleb and Melanie were busy. They'd moved in with Mom, of course, started posting about their persecution on social media. Melanie even launched a GoFundMe for their legal defense against family betrayal. It raised $23,000 before GoFundMe shut it down. Then Dorothy's story hit the local news. Other victims started coming forward. Turns out, my brother and his wife had been running similar scams across 3 states. Different names, different spiritual buzzwords. Same scheme. They'd find a host, mooch off their kindness, use their property as fake collateral, then vanish when things got hot. Mom finally called yesterday. Not to apologize, to beg for help. They're saying Caleb could go to prison, she sobbed. You have to drop the charges. He's your brother. What about Dorothy? I asked. What about her retirement? That's different. She's not family. I hung up, checked my email. Another message from my lawyer. They'd found offshore accounts. Caleb and Melanie had been busy little scammers. Over $500,000, hidden away while they lived rent-free in my house. The hammer fell this morning. Police showed up at Mom's house with search warrants. Found everything. Fake documents, lists of victims, even a guide they'd bought online about exploiting spiritual seekers. Mom watched them lead her precious boy away in handcuffs, still convinced it was all a big misunderstanding. Melanie tried to run. Made it 3 blocks before Layla, my neighbor who'd been watching the house, spotted her trying to hide in someone's garden. Turns out, Layla used to be a track star. Who knew? Here's the beautiful part. All those healing sessions Melanie conducted in my house, she recorded them. For training purposes, she claimed. The recordings show her coaching Caleb on how to manipulate Mom, planning how to get me to sign over my house, laughing about Dorothy and the other victims. The DA's office is having a field day. Wire fraud, mail fraud, identity theft, running unauthorized businesses, tax evasion. The list keeps growing, but the real karma, those offshore accounts they thought were so clever, frozen. Every penny. The courts appointed a receiver to handle restitution to their victims. Dorothy's getting her retirement back. Mom showed up at my door an hour ago. She'd finally watched the videos, seen the evidence, heard Caleb and Melanie laughing about manipulating her, calling her their useful idiot. I didn't know, she kept saying. I really didn't know. I made her coffee, let her cry, showed her the files, years of scams, dozens of victims, carefully documented lies. She aged 10 years reading through it all. What kind of mother am I? She whispered. What did I help them do? I didn't answer. Some questions don't need answers. Jonah called an hour ago. Caleb's singing like a canary, trying to get a deal, throwing Melanie under the bus. Melanie's doing the same to him. Their love story ends like their scams, everyone betraying everyone else. The house is quiet now. I've had the floors professionally cleaned, sage smoke and all. Layla helped me repaint the living room. The furniture's back where it belongs. No more crystals, no more candles, no more fake spiritual nonsense. Tomorrow I'm meeting with Dorothy and the other victims. Not because I have to. Because I want to. Because sometimes family isn't who you're born to, but who you choose to stand beside. Mom's in therapy. Real therapy, not crystal healing. I'm giving her time. Trust, like a clean house, has to be earned back slowly. As for Caleb and Melanie, they're looking at 8, 15 years. Minimum security, but still prison. Real men support family. Caleb said that day. Well, real men also face consequences. My phone's finally stopped buzzing. The flying monkeys have gone quiet, now that the truth's out. Amazing how fast family loyalty disappears when the facts hit the news. I'm sitting in my reading chair, back in its proper place, watching the sunset through clean windows. No more guilt, no more manipulation, no more family first at the expense of what's right.